Welcome back, friends. Welcome you all in the new session of C programming. So in last couple of session, in the last session, we have uh, does the setting for our Visual Studio Code, how we can run and how we can configure our Visual Studio Code, a new editor to run C and C++ programming. However, we are in the C programming session, so we'll continue with that only. Prior to that session, we have used Borland editor, Borland Turbo C++ editor to run our first C program. In that session, we have discussed stdio.h and conio.h, our two most important header files. We understood what is header files and why we include header files and why we use header files in my C program. Now, today we will discuss this particular part, has include. So why we include this particular has symbol, okay, and what is the meaning of this particular is include, okay. So first, in general speaking, we call it has, this particular symbol. This is the has symbol, but in programming language we call it pound symbol. Okay, the hash in C program is known as pound symbol, and this particular keyword include. If we write something starting with hash and include, so it is anything that we start writing with hash symbol, that is preprocessor directive. Okay, there are so many preprocessor directives like hash and if, hash if. These are the some preprocessor directives in our C program, and the use of these C programs are to use the code, to include the code that has been written in stdio.h, conio.h, math.h. These all header files contains, as we discussed in our last session only, last to last session, where we were discussing the header files. We discussed that these are function stdio.h header file, conio.h, this is also a function. Similarly, other header files that we will use in our upcoming C session, we know these are functions and it holds a number of lines of codes inside it. Okay, so the has include, if we are writing has include, okay, we are trying to include this particular header file function code, or anything that starts with hash symbol is known as preprocessor directive. Processor word, if we just separate these words, there are three words: pre-processor, we know it, compiler also, directives. Okay, so there are three words: pre-processor and directives. What does it mean? What is the use of this particular preprocessor directive? Okay, so preprocessor directives does two things. Okay, what are those things? The first thing is, whatever header files we have included in our program like stdio.h, and inside this particular header file the function holds number of lines of code, so it will include, okay, it will include these functions in our program. Suppose this particular stdio.header file function holds 200 lines of code. So what preprocessor directive will do, it will, before compilation of this particular program, it will remove this particular first line of code stdio.h. It will remove this one line of code and include all the codes that has been written in this particular function stdio.h header file function. Similarly, it will remove this particular conio.h has include conio.h header file and replace it with the function that has been written inside this particular header file class. So what will happen once our program gets starting compiling? So our this particular 6 or 7 lines of code will become, I think, more than 400 plus lines of code. Why? Because 200 plus lines of code are inside this particular header file stdio.h. conio.h also holds around 200 lines of code. So once it will start compiling the code, it will, before compilation, the hash preprocessor directive remove this particular line and replace it with the number of lines of code that has been written inside this header file function. Second thing, the header file, this particular preprocessor directive will do, it will remove all the comments. It will remove all the comments. You can see the green one, which is starting with that this particular backslash. these are the comments inside this particular program, so it will remove. It is also the use of preprocessor directive hash or the pound symbol that will remove these comment lines from our program and convert it into the program without comments. Okay, so once this particular line of code has been removed, means once we will build this particular project, what will happen, we will have around 400 lines of codes here and remaining this particular part. So that is something use of preprocessor directive. We will run this program. We already executed this program in our last session also. So what we will do, we will right click and choose this particular compiler gcc.exe. The program will get start building and trying to generate the output. So we will see this particular printf displays the string inside the quotation marks or double quotes or single quotes. Okay, whatever string we have written here, it will print this particular thing. It has started compiling the program. You can see we are compiling hello world.c, this particular program, and started generating the output. We will be able to see hello world from C program in couple of seconds. So let's wait for that. Okay, so it has built this particular hello world.c program, and now we can see it is generating the output here in our terminal. We can see hello world from C program. So in today's session we understood what is a header file. Okay, what is why we use this particular hash include, and in our next session we will discuss about this particular void main. Somewhere some places we write int main also. So what is the meaning of this particular main, why we write, in which scenario we will write void, in which scenario we will write int. We will discuss those things in our coming session. So that is all for today. Thanks for joining.